Karuna. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam, Tomas. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Tell us a little bit about Light On Kundalini.
Light On Kundalini, isn't it a good name? Light On Kundalini's been developed for everybody.
Light On Kundalini.
Yeah.
L-O-K.
Yeah.
What's it all about? What does it mean?
Light On Kundalini started about 2.5 years ago with an idea that we wanted a more spiritual reality. We wanted to be accessible for everybody. When a yogi goes in to practice yoga, it can be another type of meditation, another type of awareness. It's over 4,000 years old. Yogi Bhajan brought the teaching in 1969 to the West because he needed to awaken all these beings that were hesitant to go into a spiritual practice. Kundalini Yoga offers transformation, and we need to open the places in which we found ourselves to be very stuck. So many people come to me, Tom, in asking, how do I transition from an old me to a new me and still be in love with the new me from the old me? So I say, take your old stories, allow them to be thankful for, allow them to come into a past, come into a presence, and live as you are now.
How does a young person, such as myself, or maybe even younger, get into Kundalini Yoga?
Tom, when I started teaching youngsters yoga, because they were so open and ready at the age of 8, and actually 6 and 7, because 7 is the first cycle of consciousness, right? And then as it transitions into that 10 years old, leading into that 11 years of the intelligence cycle, the first intelligence cycles, they start to think. And what happens when they start to think? They think about, do I like this or not? Instead of just loving it and jumping in. So that consciousness cycle, 7, goes into that intelligence cycle, 11, and then they start getting a little bit of an attitude. So we want to find them right at that point. So when they hit that 11 cycle, they have the ability to get the full awareness.
So, really interesting stuff for the youth, very young, 7 to 11, but someone my generation who wants to get involved with Kundalini Yoga but doesn't necessarily know how or has anyone involved in Kundalini directly, how would I go about getting involved with the practice?
Such a great question. Such a great, important question, because everybody's so distracted. And actually, I have so many people your age coming now, but really in that 25 to 30, group of people coming that are amazing athletes, amazing careers they've had, like yourself, amazing schooling, and yet there's something in them that gets stuck. So they are looking for something to settle. So the beauty of Kundalini Yoga, it's not the same way we teach the 7 and the 11-year-olds. We have specific meditations that will cut through the subconscious. We offer rebirthing that specifically goes to the subconscious, because in the subconscious are all those old stories we just spoke about in the past. So we get to look at those stories during the meditations, during the class. We get to observe them in a very substantial kriya. And a kriya is a set of asanas. So in any yoga class, you will go and have 26 postures. You'll go and have 5 or 6 different types of asana posture. And all the postures in Kundalini Yoga are designed around the spine. So the spine, the vertebrae need breath, right? So we work on pranayama, specifically breathing exercises to get you calm. We teach you meditation, and meditation is literally sitting up straight, pulling your chin in, and keeping it, try it.
Like this, I can feel it running through me, the Kundalini. I'm doing it now.
You're doing good.
So, this is starting to make sense. So,
good.
For those who work every single day, a 9 to 5 job, they live and deal with the stresses of the city. and their relationships and their friends and their work, Kundalini can offer them a service of meditation to maybe block all that out and have a little bit of clarity in this hectic world.
Yeah, and when you use the word block, it actually, that's a perfect word for Kundalini Yoga. So you're already getting channeled in the wording, because there's a way through every block. We believe in the doer, 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 and in actuality, we're not the doer. We allow ourselves to be done. And as if we just show up, maybe it's for 30 minutes, maybe it's for an hour, maybe it's for 3 minutes a day. Just by sitting as you did with your spine straight, your chin in, it works.
So Karuna, you say that we're not doers, we're being done. But I think that there are some viewers out there that might think that they actually do a lot in their world and their life to put themselves in the position to be successful and happy and etc. Can you tell me a little bit, expand a little bit on that point about what you mean?
And I really respect everybody for their accomplishments in life, and myself for my accomplishment. My journey started, as the same way, working up the ladder. And yes, I want to be recognized, but a lot of time we're recognized from the ego. We're not recognized from the heart, the spirit. Let's say the spirit. So if we can balance the ego and let the spirit run the ego, then we won't get insulted with going to a Saturn teacher, which Yogi Bhajan was, a very direct teaching, which will allow you to break through, like you use that word, break through those blocks and come to a place of serenity, of grace, of compassion.
So there's a real theme to this conversation that's transition, and it seems like it relates back to the yoga. And I know you went through a transition in your careers early on as a model. If you could tell me a little bit more about that.
I thought I needed to go on those interviews and get those jobs, and that it was me doing it. In actuality, it was the gift that was coming through of my joy, my smile, my presence. And so that's what brought me into yoga, was the presence. And I wanted to learn more about that. By being, the model, that taught me how to be in relationship to the self, myself, actually. So yes, it's important to go out into the world and to learn all these crafts and to find all these different careers that eventually take you to here, right here, and find that place of, again, serenity, of grace. It just wasn't about me getting the next job. It was just like this, literally this revelation that came over me to say, oh my God, I've got some help up there. And that was the turning point for me to really look into something deeper. And when I did that, all my work changed as a model. Absolutely.
So how do you, through your teaching, help people understand and unlock their own belief or sort of sacrifice for this practice?
Well, I think that by experiencing it to the level in which I personally have experienced it, I can help share that with the world, because there's so much compassion in my heart around every situation and everyone's heart.
So now that you've surrendered yourself to this yoga, how has it enhanced your life moving forward from that point?
It's been a struggle. Honestly, it's been a struggle. I mean, when you wake up to realize that you mean so much to the world and to serve in such a way, you have to sacrifice. And some of the parts of sacrificing meaning finding yourself. And so you make kind of, strong decisions. And they're not necessarily right, ever. Every day I'd go into the practice and I'd, I go in with one attitude, I come out with like a happy attitude, and I go, oh my God, this is really serving me. And I could get more and more creative and more excited about what I was doing. Whether it was watching a soccer game or auditioning for a film or, doing a modeling job or cooking a meal. It was all the same. All of a sudden everything became the same, which was everything was joy and happiness. And I started practicing all the time. I would not miss a class. And then I met my mentor, my teacher, who ended up being my mentor, and she suggested me going into a teacher training program myself to become a teacher. And I just said yes immediately when she said, Karuna, you've got to become a teacher. And of course we met in India and on the banks of the Ganga, and it was a very sacred place. I had just come from Nepal. So I'd been traveling, and since then, I've gone 7 times back to India to find myself every time. And there was one circumstance that happened the last trip to India, when I was walking on the banks of the Ganga, and I felt so fine. Like I didn't need anybody to mentor me anymore. I had God to mentor me. I had a direct relationship to the self, into my relationship to the self, where I just didn't feel like I needed much more, except to take on my sadhana, my daily practice, for myself I'm talking, and to practice yoga, practice Kundalini yoga.
So yeah, again, another transition from the student becomes the teacher, and now you're going to give back. And have you found it difficult to kind of flip the side a little bit and now give back all the teachings of your practice and introduce newcomers such as youngsters or even people that are older in life that have had no spiritual practice? Have you found that as a challenge, a rewarding challenge?
Totally rewarding. When you become a Kundalini yoga teacher, and I was a Hatha yoga teacher, and I taught in London, and I opened up the Life Center in London. I did all sorts of different types of teaching prior to Kundalini. So really, I have 3 decades of yoga under my belt, so to speak. But Kundalini by far is the best teaching for me.
So tell me a little bit about the teacher training that you host here in Boulder, because I know that that's been quite popular. And going back to the beginning, we were talking about Light On Kundalini and the reason that you started Light On Kundalini and how you want to introduce this yoga to newcomers.
Yeah.
What is the practice, and how does someone get involved in that?
Thank you for asking.
Teacher
That's
training,
everything for me. The teacher trainings that I've set up in Boulder, initially with my mentor, and really recommended by Sananam Kaur. She really,
and that's a musician?
Sananam Kaur, Sananam Kaur is an amazing musician in the Sikh tradition, and she's world-renowned musician, and she sings from the heart.
So is the music is that part of the teacher's training? Is that part of your training?
Well, big time. It's a whole section of teacher's training. So we have 7 different parts of the teacher training. So we go through lifestyle, discipline, yoga, postures, diet, music, mantra. So yeah, it's all segued into a full-on lifestyle. So you don't even have to teach when you become a teacher, but to have it for your lifestyle, have it as a householder, so you know how to run a house, you know how to take care of the children and run a house, you know how to have a relationship and a husband or a partner, whatever your lifestyle is. We have all this information for you to look at. So you can go in and see videos that I've shot of master teachers, interviewing them as you're interviewing me. And always we have our teacher training at the Star House, which is an elevated unit of consciousness.
Is that here in Colorado?
Yeah, it's in Boulder. It's 9 minutes above Boulder.
So what's the website address?
www.lightonkundalini.com.